In early 2020, the world seemed to come to a halt with the announcement that the coronavirus had been declared a global pandemic. Millions lost their jobs, businesses experienced forced closures, and schools needed to adapt to an online-only format, which we are still experiencing right now. One of the biggest industries impacted by this was that of theme parks. In the case of the Walt Disney Company, their resorts closed in March, and a large number have yet to reopen. The Walt Disney World Resort in Florida has taken numerous steps for the future operations of theme parks in a world hindered by a global pandemic. Disney World provides a source of joy in children, teenagers, and adults alike, so you and your current or future family may benefit from knowing that the resort is trying to continue to provide that source of joy during what some may call the darkest of times. Having been to the resort over 10 times before the outbreak, I know how the parks operated originally, and I can now say that I have been introduced to some of the new policies in place. Today, I will inform you about some of these new policies, including physical distancing guidelines, the resort-wide mask mandate, and the enhanced cleaning procedures across the parks. Now, when you see a picture taken at Walt Disney World, usually a large crowd is in the background. This policy and this concept, really, bluntly speaking, is no longer allowed. The Walt Disney World Resort has introduced numerous physical distancing guidelines that prevent this. First, there are now distancing markers inside ride queues set 6 feet apart to create optimal social distance between parties. In Madrach and Leung's study analyzing the effectiveness of social distancing among various age groups, models suggested that the intervention involving all age groups would decrease the number of cases considerably and delay the epidemic the most. In addition, there are also cast members stationed around these ride queues to ensure that guests remain socially distant. When analyzing the effectiveness of the effects of the coronavirus on the social and economic state of the U.S., researchers at Cambridge found that social distancing likely generates net social benefits. This policy allows guests to feel safer, knowing that people will be punished and there are consequences for breaking their social distancing guidelines. One of the biggest controversies out of this entire pandemic has been whether a mask is beneficial to the cause. Disney believes that it is. They have introduced a resort-wide mask mandate with a few exceptions. The policy states that any person on Disney property over the age of 2 must wear a mask. This includes guests and cast members, unless you are actively eating or drinking while stationary or inside your hotel room. Betch and Associates found that, contrary to negative expectations, individuals wearing masks exhibited other protective behaviors more often. In addition, there are now mask relaxation stations across the parks for guests to remove their masks and take a break. There are cast members here as well to ensure that parties remain distant. Now, wearing a mask and being socially distant are all well and good, but Disney is known for its rides. How is the Walt Disney Company trying to prevent sickness on the ride vehicles themselves? Well, Disney has increased and enhanced their cleaning protocols across the resort. First, there are now contact-free hand sanitizing stations in ride queues and across the park. One study by Golan and Associates finds that alcohol-based hand sanitizers have been utilized as an effective alternative to hand washing, making it one of the essential protocols in decreasing healthcare burden. In addition, rides are closed and cleaned every 2 hours with a peroxide multi-surface cleaner and disinfectant, which is being sprayed along pull bars and seats and on all ride vehicles. This is also being used when wiping down metal bars and queue lines. Disney's custodial staff is notorious for being incredibly quick, and the introduction of these policies has increased that status even higher. In conclusion, the COVID-19 has not been able to stop the Walt Disney Company's attempts at bringing joy to the world. the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida has introduced many new steps to resume operations in their parks in a world hindered by a global pandemic. You now know about some of the physical distancing measures that are in place. You now know about the resort-wide mask mandate, which is strictly upheld across parks, hotels, and shopping areas. You now know about some of the enhanced cleaning procedures that are in place on a daily basis. Using the information given by the CDC and the Florida government, the Walt Disney World Resort has taken many steps in increasing the safety of theme park destinations for guests and employees in a world impacted by a global pandemic.